Welcome to Click to Learn More, the show that sounds like clickbait,
but it's actually two dorks.
I'm Dorm.
I'm Liddy.
That was we spent about 30 seconds before the intro just giggling because I couldn't remember the intro.
And I think
We're on episode 48, I think.
Maybe like 15 minutes before that, just talking about stuff that didn't matter.
Yep. So good job. Good luck me editing.
Conversating.
Yeah.
Which last week we were going to record and then just sat there and talked.
That's true. We did do that.
Like without any reasoning behind it anyway. So, I mean, that's a smorgasbord for this now.
Good word.
Yeah, thanks.
I
learned it today. Yeah.
So today, Liddy, we're going to talk about one of the most influential journalists in the history of our great nation.
Oh my God, you wrote an episode on me.
Well, is your name Elizabeth Cochran Seaman?
I wish. Oh my God.
Elizabeth Cochran Seaman.
I thought it was Cockram at first, which would have been...
Cockram? What kind of name is that?
Cockram is a name.
Is it?
Probably.
Yeah.
Nobody knows.
You definitely second guessed that one.
Listen, if they can have... I went to school with a kid named BJ Cox. If they can have a kid...
You're real proud of that. You bring that up a lot.
I think it's so funny. I think it's so funny that you let your kid leave the house and you go, you know what? We're going to nickname you BJ. You know what your last name is? Cox. This is
Why is it funny?
Because it was in middle school and it was definitely going to go over well.
No, but I don't get it. What's the joke?
I'm not going down this road with you. You know exactly why it's funny.
If that name doesn't ring a bell, maybe her pen name of Nellie Bly will.
Okay. All right.
So today my sources include, there's a lot of them, the National Women's History Museum, PBS, the New York World, which is a no longer existing publication, the Pittsburgh Dispatch, the Washington Post, the New York Times biography, the Smithsonian, and Wikipedia. That's the way, what was Peter Sellers? Is that the guy who does the biography stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Biography. Today on biography.
Is that the dude that stands in front of all the pictures and stuff in the background?
The old guy? Yeah, I don't even know if he's still alive. It may not be Peter Sellers. He's an old actor.
It's old fella.
Has gray hair. Anyway.
Most of them do.
Elizabeth Jane Cochran was born in Cochran's Mills, Pittsburgh.
What?
Pennsylvania.
So did her family own it? Own the mills?
Well, hold on.
Oh, sorry. I'm jumping ahead.
In 1864.
Oh, God.
That's right. Yet again, for some reason, I always end up in the late 1800s, and I don't know why.
This is your era.
Turn of the century is my life, apparently.
That's your genre. That's your theme.
I guess.
And mine is murder.
Yeah.
And yours
I do
is
as many as turn of the century stuff as you do murder, yeah.
You're a good balance, so that's good.
New Balance. Her dad. You shouldn't have laughed at that. That wasn't funny.
To be fair, I shook my head as if to berate myself for laughing. How dare
You're already admonishing yourself.
Yeah.
Her dad, Michael Cochran, was a mill worker who worked his way up to buy the local mill and surrounding land, thus the namesake. So yes, they did own it.
Okay.
But her dad, did the old American, what is it? Fasten up your bootstraps or pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
Yeah. What was his name?
Michael.
Mike Cochran?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure.
Elizabeth's dad, Mikey, was a reproducing machine.
Oh my God.
He had 10 children with his first wife.
Of course he did with a name like that.
And 5 more, including Elizabeth, with his second, Mary Jane Kennedy, which is an awesome name.
That's a good name. Yeah. MJ Kennedy.
Yeah, it's really good. It's like a comic book name.
Yeah.
Reason number 1 to like Nellie Bly.
Ooh, there's a list.
Growing up, she was often called Pinky because of her love for the Animaniacs.
Wait.
Just kidding. She wore pink a lot.
So
they called her Pinky.
Hold on. This is the 1800s. I knew that was from a while ago.
What do they call those? Like the spinning wheel, cartoons.
I know what you're talking about. Those were Nickelodeon machines.
Well, yeah, but there's are they called zoetropes? Is that what they are?
Oh God, I don't know.
The rotating. Anyway,
it's something trope.
Okay, cool.
That's my contribution to that.
Once she got to high school, though, she changed her name to Cochran. So she was Elizabeth Jane Cochran.
So she was known as Pinky Cochran for a while? Okay. Unfortunate.
She sort of took the namesake of Elizabeth Cochran now instead of Pinky. I don't want to be called Pinky anymore.
Okay. She want to be taken seriously.
To sound more sophisticated, attending board school for a term and had to drop out due to her father's passing.
Oh, no.
Elizabeth's trailblazing, era-defying career in journalism began at the tender age of 20 when under the pseudonym of Lonely Orphan Girl.
Oh, my God.
What was the name of... Do you remember the early, YouTube chick? What was her name? That's what that reminded me of.
Okay, so my first thought was Boxy, which was wrong.
No, not Boxy.
But, so didn't in Always Sunny in Philadelphia, wasn't there a lonely something that Dee was?
Maybe.
Her her video blogs were like lonely something something.
Like her one woman show thing.
And they all were like, these are hilarious.
But what was do you know what I'm talking about?
It was Lonely Girl something.
Was it Lonely Girl? Okay.
I thought it was Lonely Girl something.
So that's why I rang a bell. Under the pseudonym Under the pseudonym of Lonely Orphan Girl, she responded to a patronizing letter from the father of 5 girls published in her hometown newspaper, the Pittsburgh Dispatch.
Ooh.
Under the headline, "What Girls Are Good For."
Oh my God.
That unsubtly implied answer being birthing babies and tending households. So this guy wrote sort of like an op-ed kind of piece talking about that basically women were only good for making babies and taking care of the house.
Lonely Girl 15.
Okay, that was really close then. Mm-hmm. Maybe she was paying homage to Nellie Bly.
Hey,
that'd be awesome. There's so many great quotes in the letter from 1885. Just want to make that clear. This is from 1885.
It seems so bizarre to me. Well, I guess because she was anonymous. You would think that she'd be like a little more nervous
Tentative.
about responding so brashly. I'm assuming it's about to be brash because you're smiling, and I'm assuming it's going to be.
There's so many great quotes from this, but this is a white man who is definitely qualified to talk on such issues and quantify them. This is my favorite. Quote, is long, so strap in. If girls were boys, quickly would it be said, start them where they will, they can, if ambitious, win a name and fortune. How many wealthy and great men could be pointed out who started in the depths, but where are the women? Let a youth start as errand boy and he will work his way up until he is one of the firm. Girls are just as smart, a great deal quicker to learn. Why then can they not do the same? As all occupations for women are filled, why not start some new ones? Instead of putting the little girls in factories, let them be employed in the capacity of messenger boys or office boys. It would be healthier. They would have a chance to learn, their ideas would become broader, and they would make as good, if not better, women in the end. It is asserted by storekeepers that women make the best clerks. Why not send them out as merchant travelers? They can talk as well as men. At least men claim that it is noted fact that they talk a great deal more and faster. If their ability at home for selling exceeds a man's, why would it not abroad? Their lives would be brighter, their health better, their pocketbooks fuller, unless their employers would do as now, give them half wages because they are women.
Ooh.
1885. She's basically like, why don't just like equal pay and equal
her
jobs?
Slamming at her typewriter, just like slamming at it, anger.
Would that even be the typewriter?
I almost called it a type machine. So just
I saw you pump fake, and I was like,
just be thankful that I got typewriter.
When did the typewriter get invented?
I don't know. I'm gonna Google it.
Okay, cool. Because I was just picturing her like scrawling it down, but I don't know.
Just be happy I got there.
Yeah, you got typewriter, not type machine.
Oh my gosh.
The editor, George Madden, was impressed with her passion and ran an advertisement asking the author to identify herself.
Oh.
So it was like, hey, who was this? You rule.
Oh. No, so not bad. Okay.
Yeah. When Cochran introduced herself to the editor, he offered her the opportunity to write a piece for the newspaper, again under the pseudonym Lonely Orphan Girl.
Okay.
Her first article for the Dispatch, entitled The Girl Puzzle, was about how divorce affected women.
Oh.
In it, she argued for reform of divorce laws. Madden was impressed again and offered her a full-time job. It was customary for women who were newspaper writers at that time to use pen names. The editor chose Nellie Bly after the African-American title character in the popular song Nellie Bly by Stephen Foster. Cochran originally intended that her pseudonym be Nellie Bly, Nellybly, but her editor wrote Nellie, Nellie, by mistake, and the error stuck.
The editor spelled it wrong.
Yes.
Okay, good. I just want to point that out. The first commercial typewriters were introduced in 1874.
Okay, so this would have been like the new hot tech.
Mm-hmm. They did not become common in offices until after the mid-1880s.
Oh, good call. So it would have been right at the right time.
It would have been, brand new. She would have been
My apologies.
No, you're fine. She would have been slamming away on that time machine.
As a writer, Bly focused her early work for the Pittsburgh Dispatch, which is a very fun paper name to say. Mm-hmm. Pittsburgh Dispatch.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's a lot of puh in there.
That's the consonant sounds.
It's like free jazz.
Good callback to a private conversation.
Yeah, good callback to something nobody else will get.
Yep. Bly focused her early work for the Pittsburgh Dispatch. I tried to mess it up. I tried to do Pittsburgh Dispatch and it didn't really work. On the lives of working women, writing a series of investigative articles on women factory workers.
Ooh, okay.
However, the newspaper soon received complaints from factory owners about her writing, and she was reassigned to women's pages to cover fashion, society, and gardening, the usual role for women journalists, and she became dissatisfied. She then traveled to Mexico to serve as a foreign correspondent.
What?
Yep.
That seems like a big jump.
Yeah, it really does, right? Still only 21, she was determined to, quote, do something no girl had done before, end quote.
Okay.
She soon left to Mexico, spending nearly half a year reporting the lives and customs of the Mexican people. Her dispatches later were published in book form as 6 Months in Mexico. In one report, she protested the imprisonment of a local journalist for criticizing the Mexican government, then a dictatorship under, I'm sorry in advance, Porfirio Diaz.
What a name.
When Mexican authorities learned of Bly's report, they threatened her with arrest, prompting her to flee the country. Safely home, she accused Diaz of being a tyrannical czar, suppressing the Mexican people and controlling the press.
Once she's back home,
Yeah,
she's like,
so she was basically down there to report on like Mexican culture, and she basically went, "Nah, we're gonna like expose everything wrong with Mexico right now."
I'm just gonna like rip it wide open. That's stressful.
She's
incredibly brave.
I love her.
She got a lot of moxie.
Nice. Very good period word there. Burdened again with theater and arts reporting. So after they came back, there was like a lot of hubbub, and they were like, all right, you're going to go back to the old circuit. Bly left the Pittsburgh Dispatch in 1887 for New York City. Penniless after 4 months, she talked her way in the offices of Joseph Pulitzer. You know that name for a reason.
Oh.
Joseph Pulitzer's newspaper, The New York World.
Okay.
Reason to like Nellie Bly, number 2. Just 23, a year younger than I am right now, Bly was one of the handful of female reporters in New York City. Determined to make her mark, she accepted unusual and dangerous assignment. For years, rumors had swirled about conditions in one of the city's most notorious places, the insane asylum on Blackwell's Island, now known as Roosevelt Island.
Okay.
Blackwell's was home to a number of public institutions, including a penitentiary, a poorhouse, hospitals for infectious diseases like smallpox, and the asylum.
Now you're speaking my language.
Yeah. Bly's editor suggested she have herself committed to the asylum for 10 days to expose the real conditions, and Bly immediately agreed. She was like, yep, let's do it.
Could you imagine, like, think of it then, right?
Yeah.
Could you imagine doing that today? Like in today's society and in like considering the advances we've made in medicine and the advances we've made like societally as far as that comes. But like, imagine it then.
Yeah.
That's way back when they literally shocked you and almost killed you.
Like lobotomies were like, maybe.
Yeah.
That might work.
Yeah. We might paralyze you, but who knows?
That headache might go away.
Could help you.
You'll never have a headache again.
Oh, God. Yeah, you'll never feel anything again.
Right. Ooh. Yeah, it was bold, and she was just like, yep. Oh. Working under assumed name, she took a room in a boarding house and set out to prove herself insane. She wandered the halls and nearby streets, refused to sleep, ranted and yelled incoherently, and even practiced looking crazed in her mirror. She went full Heath Ledger Joker on this.
I was going to say, she went Joker.
Yeah.
Like she went full Joker.
And she became a method actor.
Yeah. And
for this journalist piece.
Pretty much probably went a little bit. Like,
I'm sure.
A little bit bonkers.
You always go a little bit crazy when you see that side of yourself.
Yeah.
You report long enough to see yourself become the villain.
I mean, like, just without sleep. Going without sleep long enough, you'll start to hallucinate and stuff because, like, your brain is like, no, not cool. Yeah. But, like, also that had to have been incredibly dangerous for a woman to do that in general. Oh, yeah,
she could have probably just been, like, killed.
Arrested or killed or whatever because people would have just rather her have shut up than anything else. So
she's a woman and that doesn't matter.
Yeah. I like that voice.
Thanks. It's New York City in 1890 or whatever.
See?
Within days, the boarding house owners summoned the police, so it absolutely worked.
Yep.
Bly now claimed to be a Cuban immigrant suffering from amnesia.
Okay.
A perplexed judge sent Bly to Bellevue Hospital, where she got a taste of the suffering to come, as hospital inmates were forced to eat spoiled food and live in squalid conditions.
Oh, good word.
When Bly was diagnosed with dementia and other psychological illnesses, she was sent by ferry to Blackwell's Island in the East River.
They diagnosed her with things she didn't have.
Yep.
She went in there and said, I'm fake crazy. And they said, no, you're real crazy. And they diagnosed her.
Well, I don't think that was her pitch, but sure. She did such a good job that she got diagnosed with something she didn't have.
That's terrifying.
But it's awesome.
That is awesome, but it's terrifying because imagine the people that were in there that shouldn't have been.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Because they were falsely diagnosed.
It'd make me sad.
Oh, beans. All right.
Well, I mean, everybody who was there is dead now anyways.
Well, yeah, that's true. I like that you come back to that. Like that time you're talking about some animal or something. And I'm like, oh, and you're like, they're all dead.
They're all dead.
It was Egypt.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
They're literally all dead. Why are you sad?
It's fine. Conditions in the asylum were worse than she'd imagined. Originally built to hold, I can't talk today, 1,000 patients, Blackwell was cramming more than 1,600 people into the asylum when Bly arrived in the fall of 1887.
Jeez.
So that's, 60% more than it was going to hold, 160%? Extensive budget cuts had led to a sharp decline in patient care, leaving just 16 doctors on staff. So that's 100 patients per doctor.
For all of those people.
Yeah.
So this is the kind of situation where they're just like sitting on the floor, right? Because there's no way that they have like enough seating or like beds or anything for these people. So they're definitely just like laying on a ground.
Do you have something you picture when you think of an asylum?
Yes.
What is it?
I normally think of somebody in a straitjacket. And like very white, like everything's very white and kind of like blinding. And there's like people just like laying on the ground or just like sitting in chairs.
So mine is very specific.
Okay.
I forget which song it was.
Okay.
But the Eminem music video where he's in like a crazy place, like an asylum.
Is it Please Stand Up or whatever?
Maybe, yeah.
It's like,
Real Slim Shady.
Real Slim Shady, yeah.
And he's just like getting pills from a doctor. And then I also like fuse that in my head with 12 Monkeys.
Okay.
Where they're in an asylum at one point. So that's where I pull my two ideas of an asylum. Not for 1887 though. That's more like 1990.
There was an episode of
probably more like 50, but
American Horror Story where they would like part of it was in an insane asylum, and it was like horrifying. They would test on them and stuff like that, and so it was like super cool. This probably actually happened. They're probably doing tests on people just because they could, because they can get away with it, and nobody's gonna miss a bunch of those people that probably put them in there in the first place to get rid of them because they were a burden. Anyway, carry on.
Most disturbing of all was the prevailing wisdom of the age regarding both the causes of mental illness and how patients should be treated. Asylums like Blackwell's were considered curiosities, where thrill seekers like Charles Dickens and others could visit those thought mad.
They would just show up and like use them like a
tourist attraction, yeah.
Oh, automatically, like, does Blackwell not sound like it's like a place in a comic book
or a video game, like an evil institution?
Like a bad place to be. Like if you're not careful, I'll send you to Blackwell's. Like, is that not?
Yeah,
that already sounds terrifying.
I mean, it's a bad name, but it's a very apt name.
Yeah.
Doctors and staff with little training and in many cases little compassion ordered harsh and brutal treatments that did little to heal and much to harm, like the Fiend in wrestling. That's a current wrestling reference. Dating the podcast a little bit, not really. Bly quickly befriended her fellow inmates who revealed rampant psychological and physical abuse. Patients were forced to take ice-cold baths and remain in wet clothes for hours, leading to frequent illness. Shock, shock. They were forced to sit still on benches without speaking or moving for stints lasting 12 hours or more.
Oh, my God.
Some patients were tethered together with ropes and forced to pull carts around like mules.
Jesus.
Food and sanitary conditions were horrific, with rotten meat, moldy stale bread, and frequently contaminated water dished out.
And so but not on top of being like mentally ill and not being able to get the medication or the care that you need and to function. Now you've got food poisoning, and now you've got like all kinds of like
they were literally being poisoned.
Yeah, stomach issues and everything.
Those who complained or resisted were beaten, and Bly even spoke of the threat of sexual violence by vicious, tyrannical staffers.
Wow. Bly
was shocked to discover that many of the inmates were not insane at all. Here's back to your theory. They were recent immigrants, mostly women, shocker, caught up in a law enforcement system in which they were unable to communicate.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
So you can't speak, so you must be crazy.
Right. You can't speak English. Because there's only one language in the world.
Right, of course.
Others that Bly met at Blackwell's and Bellevue Hospital before had fallen through the cracks of a society with few social safety nets, ending up committed simply for being poor with no family to support them. To her horror, Bly quickly realized that while many of those inmates were not suffering from mental illnesses before they arrived at the asylum, the treatments inflicted gave them psychological damage.
Yeah, probably a lot of elderly people too. Probably like family couldn't keep up with them, and they were just like, okay, well, you're going to go to the hospital, because when you hear hospital, you hear help. Like, you're going to be you're going to be fine.
Right.
See ya. Just drop them off. Forget about them.
So Bly's expose had immediate results. Bly's cover was nearly blown by a fellow reporter. But she was able to stick it out for 10 days. So she was in the asylum for 10 days, prompting the title 10 Days in a Madhouse. It's pretty like notorious journalistic piece. Before her editor arranged for her release. Could you imagine getting that call, by the way?
No.
Like, hi, I'm the editor from Joseph Pulitzer's paper, The New York World.
Yeah.
You have one of our journalists. We need her back now.
We'd like her to,
Like, oh God, what's going to come?
Yeah, what's going to happen now?
Oh God.
Yeah.
Her first articles on her experience were published within days, and the series became a publishing sensation.
Wow.
A month after Bly's articles were published, a grand jury panel visited the asylum to investigate. So, like, within a month, it was like, we gotta go check this stuff out.
And there's no way you're cleaning that up in a month.
Unfortunately,
oh no,
the hospital and its staff had been tipped off in advance, probably because there's being an article published about how bad their hospital is.
So what did they do with all the people?
By the time the jury members had arrived, the asylum had cleaned up its act literally. Many of the inmates who had provided Bly with details of their horrific treatment had been released or transferred. The staff denied Bly's accounts, fresh food and water had been brought in, and the asylum itself had been scrubbed down.
Do you think transferred, quote unquote?
Like killed?
Like got rid of them? Yeah.
I think they were actually
transferred. There's a giant grave in the backyard of the asylum.
I kind of, well, I don't know. Who knows?
Where else would they take them?
I can't confirm or deny, but I assume they were actually transferred.
I don't know. Suspicious.
Despite this effort at a cover-up, the grand jury still agreed with Bly.
Okay, good.
A bill that was already under construction, which would increase funding for mental institutions, was pushed through, adding nearly $1 million, around $24 million in today's money, to the departmental budget. Abusive staff were fired, translators were hired to assist immigrant patients, very good call,
yeah,
and changes were made to the system to help prevent those who did not actually suffer from mental illnesses from being committed.
Wow.
So the crack sheath, fell through, slipped through. Or at least trying to be filled.
It was probably one of those things like, you know, where you go to the doctor and you see the nurse for most of it, and then you see the doctor for maybe like 30 seconds, and he's like, okay, I've read your papers. We're going to put you on this medication. You should be fine.
Have a good day.
Talk to you later.
Yeah.
Like, it was probably that kind of situation where she talked to like a nurse, and then the doctor was like, oh, yeah, you have dementia. We're going to commit you. Like, probably didn't talk to her much at all.
Yeah.
I'm just baffled by that. I'm baffled they could look at a completely same person and be like, oh no, yeah, you have dementia. Come on. Like,
I mean, she was acting the part.
She was definitely playing it up, but
especially in the 1880s, like medicine has advanced so much in 130 years.
Yeah, she probably just had to go, I see frogs on the ceiling. And they were like,
crazy. I'm a crazy person.
And they were like, wow, okay, you're crazy. Yeah, you're definitely crazy. Okay, come on in.
So in 1888, Bly suggested to her editor at the New York World that she take a trip around the world.
Okay.
Not for vacation. Attempting to turn the fictional Around the World in 80 Days into fact for the first time.
Oh my God,
of course. The book had just come out. A year later at 9:40 a.m. on November 14th, 1889, with 2 days' notice, she boarded the Augusta Victoria, a steamer of the Hamburg America line, and began her 40,000-kilometer journey.
Oh my God.
So a real far trip. She took with her the dress she was wearing, a sturdy overcoat, several changes of underwear, and a small travel bag carrying her toiletry essentials.
Huh.
She carried most of her money in a bag tied around her neck. It was about 200 pounds in English banknotes and some American currency.
Wow.
And she had it like in a little satchel around her neck.
Smart.
The New York newspaper Cosmopolitan found out about this and sponsored its own reporter, Elizabeth Bisland.
A lot of Elizabeths running around.
Bisland. I don't know if it's Bisland or like Byland. I don't know if the S is silent. To beat the time of both Phineas Fogg, who is the protagonist of Around the World, and Bly. Bisland, I'm just going to say Bisland from now on, would travel the opposite way around the world, starting on the same day as Bly. So they went, So was
this Cosmo, like as we know Cosmo?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same brand, but they were reporting on different stuff then.
Huh. They were actually doing news.
Yeah, they had journalists. No offense to people who work at Cosmopolitan. I've read the one that had Haley Williams on the cover when I was like 15.
I read the embarrassing stories because when somebody moved out, this is a tangent, but somebody moved out of my apartment like, I don't know, like 4 years ago, but they have never ended their thing to Cosmo. So occasionally once a month I will open my tiny little mailbox and it's shoved in there and I'm like, I hate you person before. I can't
Let's see what crazy trends are in the world of
read about how a man's penis broke. Yeah. Go ahead.
Nice. Bly, however, did not learn of Bisland's journey until reaching Hong Kong. She dismissed the cheap competition. Quote, I would not race. If someone else wanted to do the trip in less time, that is their concern. Just like completely she doesn't exist.
She's like, whatever. Who cares?
To sustain interest in the story, the World organized a Nellie Bly guessing match. This is awesome.
Okay.
In which readers were asked to estimate Bly's arrival time to the second.
Oh my God. So they basically did a raffle. Like, when's she going to make it?
It was like, it's like the the world-sized equivalent of the how many airheads are in this jar that's at every like school fair and baby shower and stuff.
Or when like a baby's going to be born and they're like, how many pounds is this baby going to be? What time is this baby going to be born?
Yeah. With a grand prize consisting of a first free trip to Europe and later on spending money for the trip.
Oh, okay.
So you get like a all expenses paid trip to Europe if you guess her time. Everybody's going to write in. It's a great idea.
Absolutely.
During her travels around the world, Bly went through England, France, where she met Jules Verne, author of Around the World.
That's cool.
Brindisi, the Suez Canal, Colombo, the Straits settlement of Penang, I think is how you say it, and Singapore, Hong Kong, Japan. So she kind of just, went through Europe into Asia.
Yeah.
The development of efficient submarine cable networks and electric telegraph allowed Bly to send short progress reports, although longer dispatches had to travel by regular post and thus were often delayed by several weeks.
Think about how weird that is now. Like, you won't get a status update for weeks when now it's a text.
Yeah, where's Nellie? We're waiting 4 days for the next letter.
We need to know.
Yeah. Bly traveled using steamships and the existing railroad systems, which caused occasional setbacks, particularly on the Asian leg of her race. During these stops, she visited a leper colony in China, and in Singapore, she bought a monkey.
Whoa, Nellie.
How long have you been sitting on that one?
I literally just thought of it. I was like, how did I not do this earlier? She bought a monkey.
Yeah.
All right, Nellie.
She's so cool.
She's so cool.
As a result of rough weather on her Pacific crossing, she arrived in San Francisco on the White Star Line ship RMS Oceanic. I love ship names. They're ridiculous. On January 21st, 2 days behind schedule. However, the world owner Pulitzer chartered a private train to bring her home. Genius.
Cool.
And she arrived back in New Jersey on January 25th, 1890 at 3:51 p.m.
And she beat the other person?
Yes.
That was trying to race her?
As a result, whoops, so nice I read it twice. At the conclusion of her journey on January 25th, 1890, Bly was greeted at a New Jersey train station by a crowd of cheering supporters who had, read about it.
Yeah.
Her editor at Joseph Pulitzer's New York World, who resisted sending her at first, but eventually caved in. He told her that her gender would make the trip impossible.
Okay.
He said, no one but a man can do this.
Okay.
She said, very well, start the man and I'll start the same day for some other newspaper and beat him.
Oh.
She's so cool. And of course, he conceded. And so she made the trip in, I don't have the number here. It was less days than they estimated because of the private train.
Which was a good move.
Yeah, solid move. Yeah. In 1895, so a little bit later, Bly married millionaire industrialist Robert Seaman, thus the name Seaman.
Yes, okay.
Who was 40 years her senior.
Oof.
And she became legally known as Elizabeth Jane Cochran Seaman. Also around this time, she retired from journalism because she just married a millionaire. Why would she ever work again?
Why would she need to?
And by all accounts, the couple enjoyed a happy marriage.
Aw.
Upon her husband's death in 1904,
Killed him.
9 years later,
Killed him.
he was 40 years older than her.
Yeah, and she missed the thrill of the chase, so she killed him. So she could get
in
back.
9 years.
Yeah,
that 9 year itch that you hear about.
She knew that she couldn't get to 10 when she was at 10. She was locked in, so she had to,
She had tenure.
yeah, literally 10-year.
Thanks, that was the joke.
Yeah, but before her lease ran out, she had a 10-year lease. Before her lease ran out, she had to get back out there. So
upon her husband's death in 1904, Bly took the helm of his ironclad manufacturing company.
Okay.
During her time there, she began manufacturing the first practical 55-gallon steel oil drum, which evolved into the standard one used today. You didn't expect her to make oil history, did you?
No, which sometimes is used to hide bodies. Okay.
You're really committing to this theory. You're very happy about this theory.
Listen, I think she killed him, but it's fine.
Did you turn into a frog?
A little bit. Frogs on the ceiling.
Good callback to your own joke.
Somebody's got to do it. All right.
While in charge of the company, Bly put her social reforms into action, and ironclad employees, which is just cool sounding, enjoyed several perks of unheard of at the time, including fitness gyms.
Ooh.
In 1904, fitness gyms, libraries, and health care. Most places didn't have insurance.
Most places now don't have insurance.
Fair. Ultimately, the cost of these benefits begin to mount and drain her inheritance.
Oh, no.
Faced with such dwindling finances, Bly consequently re-entered the newspaper industry. She began working for the New York Evening Journal in 1920 and reported on numerous events, including the growing women's suffragette movement.
Oh, heck yeah. Come on, Nellie.
Because that's when 1920 was when women got the right to vote. Just 2 years after reviving... Sorry, I just like that fact. I always remember that.
Women got the right to vote.
I did do that. I was a human slide whistle for a second.
I liked it. It was very good.
Just 2 years after reviving her writing career, on January 27th, 1922, Nellie Bly died from pneumonia in New York City. No. She was 57.
57. I mean, pretty good age for the early 1900s.
Yeah.
57.
She lived pretty long.
She lived a life.
Her husband lived forever.
How old was her husband?
He would have been like 80 something, I think. Hold on, let me look.
So she was killed. Is what you're saying.
by
the pneumonia.
But yeah, that's probably by some man named Pneumonia.
Some new pneumonia came through and murdered her in cold blood.
He was 81 when he died.
81.
That's really old for.
Yeah.
I guess money buys you proper health care even at the time.
Well, true, because that would have still been in the 1800s, right?
Yeah, or no, it was 1904 when he died.
Oh, 1904. Okay.
But I mean, barely.
Yeah.
He lived practically a century, which is pretty crazy.
Jeez, that's an old age today, I would think. Yeah. Like in your 80s.
Also, she made the round the world in 72 days. I just want to check.
72 days. So she did beat.
She beat Jules Verne's fake character.
How did he feel about this?
He was supportive. He met with her.
He was super hype about it.
Yeah.
Plus,
it's cool to see it like enacted.
Yeah, and that gets his name back out in the media.
Yeah, and it was actually like a year after the book was published, so it probably because she asked like right when it was published, and then it took a year for them to okay it, and she was given 2 days notice of like, hey, do you want to go in 2 days? And she's like, yep.
Do you think that they were like told her 2 days in advance so she wouldn't go? Do you think that they were
maybe to try to act as like some sort of dissuasion? I don't know.
You're allowed to, but it's in 2 days. You know.
She's like, yep.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing I love about her is that she just was like so in to do literally anything.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
I mean, like you think of it today. If somebody was like, "You want to go to an insane asylum?" Most people are going to go, "Nah, I'm good."
Yeah.
You know, most people aren't going to put themselves in danger like that. Well, right. I mean, I guess journalists do.
Yeah, it takes a special kind of person to do that. I mean, it's like early undercover journalism.
Yeah, because I mean, there are journalists that get killed overseas now,
right?
Doing what they're doing because they believe in what they're doing. So, like, yeah. But that in and of itself is, I mean, she basically single-handedly like turned it on its head because there was. Yeah. What you said, there was a bill that was sitting there like waiting to get passed,
right?
But hadn't been passed. Yeah. And once this came through, they were like, "All right, we have to do."
And
this.
It said it was like underway, so I don't know if that meant like it had been pitched or someone had made the idea for it. You know what I mean? Like I don't know what
probably
in the process
just, like,
it was.
Sitting there, not as important as everything else was. Yeah. Until this broke.
Yeah, we'll get to it next meeting. That kind of thing.
Yeah, because I imagine the like American public was probably not really happy with hearing that going on right under their noses. Weird
aside, do you know where the term gerrymandering comes from?
I used to, but I don't anymore.
So like gerrymandering, like redrawing districts and stuff. Someone did it so weird in some state in the early history of the United States that it looked like a salamander, and the dude's name was Jerry.
Okay.
And so they called it like this thing he's done is his damn gerrymandering. Like,
so it was just...
But it's funny that we all say gerrymandering because he actually pronounced it Gary, but it's spelled Gerry. But we all say gerrymandering. I had no idea where that word came from, and I was like, huh.
I like those little sites. Yeah, I think I've
Somebody
learned multiple things.
Somebody just did it mocking him and was like, this looks like a salamander. This gerrymander over here.
And then
gerrymandering became a thing.
Made a new term.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Weird little fact at the end of the Nellie Bly episode, but you know what? That's what you get for sticking around, I guess.
End all episodes with a fun little fact.
You learn a parlor story of how gerrymandering starts. If you're ever around aristocrats from the 1870s and you want to make them chortle, then drop gerrymandering's origin on them.
Well, wasn't the dude that made the sandwich Earl of Sandwich? Like,
oh yeah, the sandwich is the place, yeah.
Yeah, he was the Earl of Sandwich and was like playing cards.
Yeah, it's just like the hamburger.
Yeah, and that was said, or the cheeseburger was said to have started in Louisville. But
I was gonna say like hamburger comes from Hamburg, Germany.
Oh yeah,
it's the same idea where it's like sandwiches come from sandwich.
He was playing cards and he wanted to be able to eat his food without getting his fingers greasy. Yep. So he has to put it between two slices of bread and ta-da, new way to eat food.
Yeah.
How had we not thought of that before?
It's a good question.
You know,
I guess it's the second piece of bread. Like, I bet that's the wild card. You were eating stuff on bread
probably,
a lot.
Like jam and stuff like that was probably a thing. But being able to grasp it.
It seemed like too much of a bread thing.
Firmly
But then if you put a lot of stuff in between, the bread balances out.
That's fair. Yeah.
So he probably not only invented the sandwich, but has also increased the maximum ratio of bread to food.
Yeah, and
By
probably
double.
the price of bread.
Increase the price of bread, do you think?
Well, more demand.
Yeah, fair.
More people want more bread. Okay, if you
And
want
you
the
eat 2 slices at a
two
time
slices
now.
at a time, and the bread goes bad faster because they didn't really have any preservatives.
True.
So you're gonna have to get it.
But
and
loaves
eat it
of bread
quick.
would be smaller.
Yeah, true. And I guess it would depend on your baker.
Yeah, it's true. How generous is your baker?
Yeah, you could probably get small and large loaves.
How generous were bakers in whatever era
In
this
what-
was?
yeah,
England?
when was this? We don't know.
1600s in England, probably something like that.
I imagine that you could choose if you wanted a small or large, which it was like really crusty then too, though, right?
Oh, I love that bread. I love like actual loaves
really
of bread.
like thick crust on the outside of your bread.
Yeah. How big was that loaf of bread you
It's
just
a
mimed?
pretty good.
That
This
was
was
like
a ciabatta.
That's like
I was
2-year-old child
I
size.
was miming a giant ciabatta. That's what I was doing.
huge.
Yeah, ciabatta's big. That's a big old bread. That's a thick bread.
So Nellie Bly. How did that just
I was
happen?
waiting to see when you would switch it back.
I don't-
No, Nellie Bly is super cool. That's really, really interesting. I
love
always-
journalism. I'm very envious, not envious of journalists, but have a large amount of respect for journalism. I took one journalism class in college, and I learned just enough to know I know nothing.
Yeah.
And because there's that, what is it, Dunning-Kruger effect, where it's like when you learn about something, you think, oh, I can do that. And then the more you learn about it, the less you think you can do it.
Yeah.
I think it's called Dunning-Kruger. And so like going into it, I was like, I could take a journalism class. I'd be great at it.
Right.
And then I took it and I was like, wow, this is a lot of work and really hard. One of my first complaints that my professor had, shout out to my journalism professor, she was awesome, because I took a class for a writing credit, because you have to have one writing credit in college. And so I didn't want to take like, whatever the other boring writing credits were. So I took that one. But you had to have qualifying classes to get in. And I was like so passionate about it in the email to her to get her to like qualify me for it. She was like, yeah, you're in.
Oh.
I want to have your perspective. I want to have somebody different. Because of course journalists want to get the outside perspective.
Right, yeah, of course, yeah.
But
So
she
you
was,
played her own game.
yeah, she was great. And they even brought in, one of the first critiques she ever had for me was that I was using too much flowery language and I need to make it more like for the people. I was like, okay, cool. And then they brought in someone who ran a local magazine publication that was really cool. I don't know if it's still going or not. But she had me, because she had everybody like write up 5 questions to ask her.
Yeah.
And she had me specifically talk about the design of the magazine and stuff.
Oh,
and she was
cool.
like, I want you to ask this kind of stuff. And she was great.
Aw.
And at the end of that class, she collected old like typesetting kits. And so she gave me my initials in like old wood blocks.
Oh, that's so neat.
Yeah, I was the only one who got them, because she was like, you're the only
she
one who will
gave-
appreciate this.
Oh, you were
It's
the
really cool. I still have them somewhere.
You were the teacher's pet.
I not by
Not
choice, but
intentionally,
yeah,
yeah,
she just
yeah,
loved
yeah.
having me there. It was cool.
Well, you brought a different perspective to it because you were in an analytical class with a creative mindset.
Yeah.
So like you were able to walk that line between the two, which was probably something that she hadn't had as much experience with, because probably more like analytical based people are taking a journalism class or taking writing
Yeah.
classes. But like we had to take in our major, we had to take a writing intensive class. That's why I did. That's why I did. What did I do? Script writing, or I did that class, which was
Yeah.
a lot.
To be fair, I was a terrible journalist, but
Were you?
I got like an A, but like I
can imagine.
I
you
was
being
it was
a good
not
one.
it was like I would go down that way if graphic design didn't exist. I'd be like, sure, I'll be a journalist. Why not? I'll be a newsman. And wear a little fedora and have a little
little tag
pen
in
and
it.
pad
Yeah,
and
yeah. I thought I was
lick
gonna,
my pen every time I start writing.
and you'd have the little coats, the overcoats, and all
Yeah.
this.
Am I
You'd be
Sherlock
regular-
Holmes now?
Yeah, well, you're a Dick Tracy in my mind.
Ah,
like
gotcha.
You're Dick Tracy.
Well,
in my
most people
brain.
call me a dick, so that makes sense.
Yeah, that's it. It works out. I thought I was going to be a journalist until
Really?
I found graphic design. Yeah, I thought I was going to do that because I like to write, and I didn't know anything. I was like,
Yeah,
I
that's
can't
fair.
write books, so what am I going to do? The only thing that I can actually apply it to is going to be journalism. But then I found graphic design, and I was like,
Hell yeah.
yeah, I'm going to go that route.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that one instead.
A lot more fun.
A lot more emotional, a lot less analytical, which I like.
I also probably had the distinct advantage of being the only person in that class who didn't work for the school paper, because everyone else did. Because I actually like went in there to help out with design sometimes.
So did they have to take the class?
Yeah, it was part of their major. It was part of journalism major.
so
It was
they-
like
okay.
feature writing, I think was the name of the class.
It was probably cooler to have you there wanting to be there than having to be there.
Yeah, it'd be like somebody sitting in on like
Yeah.
your junior level class. It was
Yeah.
something weird, but I'm glad I took it. I learned a lot.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I could see her being like, taking a shine to you for that reason.
Yeah, shout out to Dr. G. That's whatever I called her.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Anyway,
reminiscing.
Yeah.
Down memory lane.
Just taking a little trip.
When we were just young spring
God, that was
chickens.
like 5 years ago now.
Yeah,
Jesus.
well, it feels weird, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm old.
Yeah. Ha ha ha. Sure. You're old. I'm a fossil.
Where can people find you?
Twitch.tv/Team Lenny. Where can people find you?
Twitch.tv/Stormstreams.
And there's a YouTube.
Yeah.
And
Twitter, Instagram.
Patreon.
TheLocalCoop.com for all the merch needs. I'm wearing one of the shirts right now.
Yeah, it's a very nice looking shirt. Would you like me to describe it to you?
Sure.
It is kind of a burgundy-esque color. It's very soft.
It is very soft.
It has the local co-op logo on it.
On my nip.
Where I was going to say where there would be a breast pocket, but you had to say nip.
No, it's just on my nip.
This is why you ain't a journalist.
Yeah. And the back.
On the back, let me see.
God, I gotta turn around.
Here's the back. And the back. Oh, and it says the local co-op, and it's swoopy. You'll know what I'm talking about. Sorry if I'm speaking in too technical terms for you. Sorry.
That's an inside term.
I'm sorry for speaking graphic design speak at you, but it's quite swoopy, I must say.
It's a swoopy back design.
No, it looks really good. It's a really soft looking shirt.
It's very soft.
I
make good quality.
I remember you specifically saying that you were not going to launch the store until you had the shirts you wanted.
Yep.
Which sounds a lot like I'm going like, remember when you said, but no, like you legit, like it was a painstaking process.
5 different sample shirts.
Yeah. So
landed on this one.
I tell people that now when people like ask about merch, I'm like, trust me, he's not going to lead you astray. If you want a good shirt.
I'm the kind of person that will wear a shirt more if it's soft.
Yeah, 100%.
Like I have.
I buy the Heathered shirts for that reason because they're softer.
Like the homage shirts that I wear.
Yeah.
The reason I buy so many of them, not only because they make awesome like wrestling and sports shirts, but it's also because like they are the softest shirts I own.
Yeah.
And these are as close as I've ever found to that because they make their own blend or whatever. But these are really close, and I'm very proud of that.
Yeah, I think
wear them and they're very comfy.
I think y'all should check them out and buy a shirt or two and a hat and mugs.
Yeah.
And
more stuff coming soon.
And etc. Go look for yourself. I'm not your mom.
That's how we're ending this. All right. Until next time.
Be careful where you click.
You had to lean back in to grab that one.
I did. I leaned out.
Sorry, I didn't mean to catch.
I leaned out for how funny my good joke was.
You were belly laughing, and then
I was knee slapping at my own good joke, and I had to lean back in real quick. Anyway,
like Fat Joe.
Stop.
Lean back.
Quit.
Lean back.
This is what it fades out on you singing "Lean Back." That's it.